joke in our profession that actors don't know what to say unless it's written for them. I have written my own speech. For those of you who don't know your Catholic saints, and this might be a group that doesn't, Saint Genesius was the patron saint of actors. He's also the patron saint of whores, thieves, epileptics, and clowns. I've known this tidbit for years, and I've taken a certain amount of pride. Recently, however, I discovered to my horror that Saint Genesius also represents lawyers. Actors, clowns, thieves, and lawyers. I've petitioned the Vatican to get the lawyers thrown out. I mean, they could easily be transferred to Saint Felix, who deals with spiders. Or Saint Dominic, who handles rabid dogs. He should take them. It's a simple request, but I'm still waiting. The reason I'm eager for this transfer stems from an unfortunate conversation I had a few months ago with a lawyer who said to me, if I ever got you on the witness stand, I could destroy your credibility with the jury because actors are, by their very nature, professional liars. What a staggering thing to say. And something that I took deeply to heart, considering that we are currently in a worldwide pandemic of lying. And so I feel the need to share with you some insights I've gained through my profession on the subject of lying. Insights that have lighted my personal journey, my epic journey, if you will. Actors are a lot of things, but lying is the antithesis of what we do professionally. We are not in the business of deception. We are not in search of lies, quite the contrary. Just as great plays explore profound truths, great acting strives to reveal those truths. Actors who conceal the truth ring false. We dismiss their performance as being untruthful, unwatchable. Great acting is truth-telling, and the audience knows it when they see it. If my lawyer friend had started the conversation like this, you've played a lot of liars in your career. Have you learned anything? I would have replied, absolutely. I have learned the value of the truth. During the rehearsal of a play, the actor embarks on a journey. That journey is not just about learning your lines and avoiding the furniture. It is an intense examination both of the character and the actor playing the character. To do it properly, you have to be honest with yourself and vulnerable to what you may uncover about yourself. You have to be brave to enter the world of what if. What if I were handicapped? What if I only had a week to live? What if I were a murderer? A while back, I played the character of Hans Biebau. Biebau was the Nazi administrator for the ghetto of Lodz. With the help of Mordecai Rumkowski, the Jewish mayor, Biebau transformed Lodz into a major manufacturing center. Both men worked feverishly. Rumkowski to save his people, Biebau to become the top war producer. Into this symbiotic relationship came the final solution as the two men were forced to negotiate the quotas for the trains. At the start of the rehearsal, I had great difficulty finding the character of Biebau. Yes, he was a monster. But how do I play him in such a way that the audience might recognize a part of themselves in Biebau? First, I had to find a part of Biebau in me. And that moment came a week into rehearsals as I was standing in line to buy a soda. A man in front of me pulled some cash out of his pocket and a $5 bill fell onto the floor. Without thinking, I reached down, picked it up, and I gave it to him. But as I walked back to rehearsal, it occurred to me that I could have made another choice, a choice that Biebau might have made. I could have simply stepped forward, covered the $5 bill with my foot, and it would have been mine. That's when I realized that my approach to the character had been all wrong. I was trying to swallow Bibao whole when he was at his most repulsive, when he was willing to do anything, say anything to get the sick and elderly on the train, and then a few weeks later, the children on the train, and finally on the last train, Rumkowski himself, who, when he stepped off the platform at Auschwitz, was bludgeoned to death by the parents of the children he had sent before. In trying to portray the enormity of Bibao's crimes, I had presumed that his life's journey had started with the unimaginable, when actually it might have started many years before, perhaps with something as simple as stepping forward to cover a $5 bill. That was the key to my performance, and a life lesson as well. How easy those first little lies of convenience, when the ends seem to justify the means, and the only one who knows is you. And so every night, in the what-if world of a ghetto, I stood watching without guilt or remorse as babies were snatched from their mother's arms and fathers shot. I ordered the deportation of children without shame, and the audience wept. A year or so ago in Washington, D.C., I played Donald Trump. To be exact, Trump 2.0. Frighteningly articulate, charismatic, but still corrupt. Which is why I can stand before you tonight and tell you that you are witnessing the greatest, most amazing, most revelatory speech ever delivered in the history of mankind, and that includes the Sermon on the Mount. I thought long and hard about playing that character because, truth be told, delving into the dark side takes a toll. But in the end, I accepted the role and I went in search of the Trump in me. I spent the next 4 months in a world of lying, bullying, and gaslighting. And you know what? In a perverse way, it's kind of freeing. Trump is not that complicated. He doesn't struggle with great philosophical or moral issues. In the parlance of the theater, Trump is pantalone, ego-driven and greedy. His motivation is winning. Grab the last cookie on the plate. Push to the head of the line. Get through the door first. I win, you lose. And since nothing really matters to him except his own skin, he is completely unencumbered by the truth. Once I got on that wavelength, it was disturbingly easy. Every night I walked out on stage and poured a bucket of lies into a pool of clear water, and the tendrils reached out and permeated everything, until the audience couldn't see the lies anymore because they were drowning in them. And if you're drowning, I'm winning. One of the fascinating aspects of acting is that while your mind knows that you are pretending, your body does not. As I attacked and demeaned and scored even the most trivial of wins, my body was experiencing it for real. The adrenaline was flowing. It was exciting. It was predatory. My fellow actors, however, were going through very different emotions. As far as they were concerned, they were being battered, with their sunken chest and rounded shoulders staring at the ground, waiting for the Trump parade to pass them by. Sound familiar? And what did I learn? If you've spent a lifetime making a mockery of the truth, there comes a point where you can no longer bear to hear the truth yourself. Facts and reality become your enemy. You rage, you bully, you intimidate, you do whatever it takes not to look into the emptiness of your soul. So, my dear lawyer friend, no, actors are not professional liars. But when we play characters that lie, we strive to portray them truthfully and insightfully so that we may raise a mirror up to nature so that we might all see ourselves better. And just to be clear, actors ask permission. Both the actor and the audience knowingly enter the theatrical world together, where everyone is aware that what is happening on stage is only real in the emotions it evokes. Real liars, however, do not ask permission. And today you can find them by the thousands doing untold damage to a population so turned upside down by Fox News, social media, Pat Robertson, and an administration that lies so shamelessly that large segments of our population are incapable of even recognizing what is real anymore. And if you think this only applies in the political world, a few years ago, I toured the country performing the Scopes Monkey trial, a trial that took place in 1925, a trial about the teaching of evolution in the public schools. This time I played Clarence Darrow, a good guy. We performed the actual trial transcripts. We spoke the words that were actually used in the trial. But because religious fundamentalists in the audience couldn't bear to even hear the argument, they would shout out in protest and attempt to stop the show. Every night I wondered, why the fear? Why so threatened? And why so adamant in keeping others from hearing? And I wondered, what was their first step? Their $5 bill. As children, were they encouraged to take that first step without even knowing it by people that they trusted? As when telling the innocent kid, the curious kid, something as simple as, yes, he did. Jonah lived in a whale. He did. It's true. For 3 days, he lived in a whale. It's absolutely true. Well, saying it's true might be easier than explaining what an allegory is to an 8-year-old, but that's a dangerous path to start down. And a few weeks later, when I was performing at the University of Nebraska, I saw firsthand how that little lie had grown. I stood in a classroom of 100 college kids and watched in disbelief as 80 of them raised their hands to affirm their belief that the earth was created on October 23rd, 4004 BC at 10 o'clock in the morning, no less. And when I asked them, how? I mean, exactly, how do you know this? Well, it was something about revealed truth and fossils and living in a whale. But mostly, they didn't know, nor did they care to know. At the next college, I met a young co-ed who put it all in perspective. God is my bus driver, she said, when I pressed her on issues of climate change, social inequalities, and what she wanted to accomplish in her life. God is my bus driver, she repeated. What does that mean, I asked. It means I don't have to worry about these things. I get to sit at the back of the bus and party hardy because God is driving my bus. I have thought about that young lady many times over these past years, and I fear that unbeknownst to her, a lot of people have been driving her bus. I fear that the little lies that got her to so easily move to the back of the bus have now clouded her vision that she is incapable of seeing the landscape anymore. I fear that today she is so ill-prepared to differentiate between fact and fiction, truth and lies, that it's but a few short steps for her to believe that separating children from their parents keeps our country safe. That freedom of religion means that you can discriminate against others. That telling the truth makes you an enemy of the people. And that, like Bibao, the ends do, in fact, justify the means. What I'd like to say to you all tonight is, let's make St. Genesius proud. We don't need to wait for Beowulf or Siegfried to slay the dragons. We can do it ourselves. We can punish the politicians who lie by voting against them. The preachers who lie by exposing their hypocrisies. But take it from an actor, first and foremost, we must be unflinchingly honest with ourselves. Because you see, I believe George Orwell when he said, during times of universal deceit, telling the truth becomes a revolutionary act. That is a part I want to play. Thank you.